Alright, so this video is going to show you how to go ahead and make a basic light switch plate. This is just going to be for one switch. It's going to be the one that you guys are normally seeing when you think of a light switch plate. So going off of the working drawing that I have provided you, we're going to start by creating the main base of the actual light switch plate here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a center point rectangle. That's going to make sense, especially when we start doing some of the other features in there. So I'll mention that when we get there. But so our width here is going to be 2.75. Our height is 4.5. Okay, and then when we finish that, we're going to end up extruding this. This extrusion can be anywhere from like about 0.1 to 0.4 would be actually pretty thick. So I'm going to probably do 0.15. That's a little bit thicker. I think it's usually around 0.1. You can look at those dimensions and figure that out. What you don't want is it to be too thick. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems actually using the switch because it's going to be too thick. It's going to prevent you reaching the switch. So now that I have this, I can go ahead and create a sketch on the front of the object, and then I'm going to make sure that my switch hole is right in the middle. And so that is why if we go ahead and use that center point rectangle, now I can create another center point rectangle that's right in the middle, and I don't have to do any math, which is kind of nice. So we're going to do 0.375 is the width, and the height is 1. And so because we did that, we don't have to use our dimension tool to center this switch hole. So that's kind of a nice thing about that. And then it's really easy from here. We could just remove that, okay, and then slice that out. So that's where our switch hole is going to be. The next thing is going to be the screw holes that we're going to attach to the, that's going to allow you to attach it to the wall. Okay, so I'm going to sketch back on this, and what we're going to actually do is use a point. So we're going to create a point, and that's what we're going to use in order to determine the location of the center point of the screw holes. And so if I go directly up here, I can center that on the actual switch, so I don't have to use those dimensions either. So I'm going to go about there and about here, and that's going to kind of allow us to use a dimension vertically here from the top to the point. So if you're kind of looking at that dimension tool, we're going to go ahead and dimension. So from the top to the point here, that is actually 0.6875. And then that's going to be the same thing from the bottom to the other point. And that's 0.6875. So once I have those points, I can go ahead and finish the sketch. And the nice thing is, now I can use those points to create my hole. And so I'm going to use the hole feature. I'm going to say I want my hole to go on this point and this point. Those are the giant holes. And what we're going to use is a countersink. The nice thing about the countersink is it'll allow the screw head to sit flush with the top. And then we are just going to go ahead and leave that as a simple hole. We don't have to do anything fancy because the screw is going to screw into the back plate, or the actual light switch, which is, so you don't actually, this just needs to be a regular hole here. Okay, so the height here is we're going to make sure that goes all the way through. And so that we can actually just kind of leave that there. This first one should be, let's see here, 0.82. This is going to be 0.262, I believe. And then the inside part here is going to be 0.18. So you can see that screw head's going to be able to rest right here in the countersink part, and then the rest of it's going to be a hole with this diameter right here. This is the screw size that I've seen work, and so that should work for pretty much most of these. This is going to be going all the way through, We could just leave it at that because, I mean, really you just need to make sure it's the depth of the actual plate, and that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Really, that's all you need is like this. That actually makes it simpler. So I'm going to hit OK, and so there are the screw holes right there. Alright, and now to finish it so it's nice and neat, before we shell it out, we can actually use the chamfer tool. And we can chamfer the edges. That's going to give it a nicer finish. Most of the light switch plates have that, so it's just not a right angle. Alright, so there we go. And 5 maybe. No, it's going to be too much because I only did 0.1, so let's actually just make it 0.1. Yeah, that's fine. Let me just 0.1. Okay. And so you have a chamfer there. It's kind of hard to tell. If you look at an angle here, you have your chamfered edges there, which will give it a nicer finish. The last thing you want to do with a general light switch plate is we're going to shell out this back. We don't want that sitting there, so we're going to go to modify that, and we are going to shell it out. Shell tools right here. So I'm going to click on here. We can do 0.1 as a thickness, and that will leave 0.1 as our walls. When I hit OK, that's going to shell out the back a little bit since we don't need that material all sitting right there. So that is your basic light switch plate. Now, what we don't want to do is just leave it like this. You can go to the store and buy these for like 99 cents. So the whole point of this activity is how are you going to enhance the aesthetics of your light switch plate. So maybe you are going to add extrusions on here of some sort of designs. Once you get better at doing this, you can also just make the whole light switch plate look like a shape. But that's going to be a different lesson altogether. So here is your basic light switch plate. That's how you get to this part, and then you're going to go ahead and continue to try to make that better as you go through the project.